experts from various fields as they share their experiences in the agriculture sector. Catch new episodes of Ulimi every Monday at 17:30 hours.
All right, so the breakfast show continues. Hopefully that you're covering yourself so well and, of course, keeping warm at the same time. It's not easy. The weather is, fluctuating and, of course, quite moody. All right, so as we continue with the breakfast show, we are also doing a countdown towards the 2021 general elections. And, of course, joining me this morning is Honorable Chandela Mkondo from the Patriotic Front, just to talk more about, PF's developmental agenda in as far as, transport and infrastructure is concerned. Honorable, thank you so much for joining us today. And, of course, good to have you.
Thank you. It's so humbling to be once again here.
One of the common statements that people have actually said about, even as much as they are appreciating the Patriotic Front for, infrastructure development,
yes,
is that how do you, first of all, rate the infrastructure development of the PF? A misplaced priority?
No. We got into power in 2011 on the premise that the Zambian people had given us the priorities. We gave them the priorities. We said, look, we have a UTH which is dilapidated. It is condemned from the women, the maternity wing. Things, they are not in order. We talked of the drainages outside. We talked of the city of Lusaka. I didn't have a proper facelift. It was like a war zone. So the people of Zambia, at that time, unga was very cheap. Everything was very cheap. But if you look at the infrastructure development, it was terrible. The MMD sold literally almost everything. The Zambian people, they realized after the 20 years of MMD that they were not in control of the economy. They were just heading towards the Congo way. So when we told them that you put the Patriotic Front into power, ourselves were going to do the red networks. We proposed it to them. We told that we can do this one under the famous Zambia Link Zambia 8,000. And the Zambian people, they said, yes, that is the right priority. We told them that we are going to bring decentralization. And decentralization means giving a service to any person on a very lower level of society, so that everybody will access it. And this is the reason why we are the 72 district. Today we have 116 district, meaning we have taken the services closer to our people. And this is the reason why, even as I stand today, the services to do with the inputs, fertilizer, they have already been distributed because there is an infrastructure which is there. There are roads which are there. So the priorities that we have taken, those which were told the Zambian people, we talked of the energy sector. 20 years of MMD, not even one kwacha was spent in generation of electricity. We had not even a pole was is it solar panel pole was standing in MMD. That was the position. And the economy continued going down. You saw what happened now. Road shading became the normal day, the normal name of the day. Everybody on the street was complaining. The economy is biting. Look, how do you operate as a nation? 8 hours of the economy, we don't have electricity. It moved on to 18 hours. So basically, it was standing on the word infrastructure. You build a power station, then you have answered all our problems. By just building that 750 megawatts, today, the Baba money, as I speak today, is able to cut and the services, provide the services. A saloon is able to provide services to the people. And this is the reason why we are telling the people, if you are talking about infrastructure development, you are talking about feeding the people, giving people opportunities. The Baba man has an opportunity because ZESCO is able to generate electricity. A saloon woman is able to get money because there is electricity. Why? There is infrastructure which is standing. So when you're talking about infrastructure development, these are priorities. You don't start from upside. What was happening in Zambia was when we took over the reign of government, we were a population of 3 million. By 1978, we are almost 8 million, 5 million people. But from that time to where we are 18 million people. We are in a disaster. Look at the infrastructure that we have built in the health sector. Levi Manawasa, there it's suited, it's a hospital, and then at the same time, it's a university. The people are enjoying the services there. They are Zambian. This is the reason why today we stand, after 10 years of the Patriotic Front, we have enrolled the doctors, almost 26,000 nurses and doctors. So if you multiply, if you divide that one by 10, per annum, health experts, there have been 2,600 been offloaded on the market. So basically, that's why we stand today. We are able to have 26,000 staff members today, part of the civil service. Why? Because the economy it has infrastructure, it has stamina on which it is standing.
Okay.
Yes.
Having spoken so passionately about that, how is that really helping the Zambian people? Looking at the fact that, when you look at the living standards of people in Zambia, it's too high. They're still buying melamil beyond 100 kwacha. They're still buying, a 2.5 liters of cooking oil beyond 150. Prices of basic commodities still seem to be very, very expensive, but the infrastructure is there. So how is it helping ease the standard of living of Zambians?
Look, a Zambian today, as we stand today, especially these people who are working, the working class, they're able to buy chicken and chips, just 2 pieces and a small chips at 48 kwacha. 3 days, that is 150, not so. They're able to buy lunch. But buying a bag of meal at 90 kg, which will take you the whole month at 150 kwacha, 130 kwacha, they are complaining. But chicken and chips for 3 days, just three portions, you are able to pay 48 kwacha, 48 kwacha, 48 kwacha. You are a working class person. But at home, just to support our own local farmers, buying a bag of meal at 130 kwacha, you are complaining. So basically, I think we have a problem. It's a mindset change. Let us support our farmer. Let our farmer also be supported. At the end of the day, the Zambian people appreciate the economy, the way to move. We inherited an economy which had farmers of 250,000 farmers. Today, because of infrastructure development and the strategic decisions and priorities that we have taken, we have more than 1 million farmers. So, where is this 750,000 coming from? Are they foreigners? They are fellow Zambians. So, when a person is asking about these 750,000 farmers who have come on board, they are poor Zambians. They are also rich Zambians who have also joined the farming fraternity. So, let us support them. Let us support local Islaka. Then we start supporting Irish potatoes which have been imported from outside. So basically the other thing which you have been talking about is that one of doing some substitution. Where we were eating rice and bread, let us try to diversify the table. We bring in the issue of Kandolo. Are you guys look. Yes.
Are you guys doing that?
Yes, myself, I come from the old school. We used to carry even Kandolo in our lunch boxes at the primary school. It was normal. Now, Vingove, we used to carry at home because we were resilient. Even today, it's not just a matter of you want children to go with bread at school, to go with the cake at school. We can diversify.
Honorable, that's what
we stand. Look,
that's what the modern fashion actually demands.
No. In fact, if you look at people who are dying, especially with this predicament we're in, COVID pandemic, those who are looking healthy, those who have been eating refined foods, those people who eat bread, butter, whatever, they are the ones who are the casualties of the same pandemic. So, but I'm not saying that it is selective, but we have seen generally that those who seem to be doing well, those who have abandoned the traditional nutritional value foods, They are the one who are suffering a lot to COVID. Because at the end of the day, COVID will demand, will demand you to have a diet at least where there is ginger, there is at least milk, there is at least kandolo, there is at least these vegetables. So basically, that's the way to go. Let's go the nutritional way of doing things. And this is the reason why this Patriotic Front, it has invested a lot coming up with even special institutions which are lobbying under the Minister of Health to just looking at nutritional value, nutritional foods. And I think our former Minister of Health, Dr. Chitalo, was always the champion of nutritional value foods. So basically, that's where we are coming from.
Honorable, why talk about nutritional foods like kandolo today when Zambians decide to complain about, the
Bread.
prices of some of these things?
Look, kandolo, would it demand any input when it comes to cultivating it, growing it, making sure that it matures? It is very, very low. When you talk about input cost, the cost is very low. But when you talk about wheat, bread, we have had, we have invested a lot as Patriotic Front. In Ndola Rural, there is a city which produces wheat, which the former president, Guy Scott, promoted. To this very day, it is standing in Western, on the Goba Belt in Ndola Rural. We are producing a lot of wheat, but at the end of the day, the cost component of it cannot be equated to that one of producing kandolo. It cannot be equated to that one producing of rice. So basically, as we stand as Zambia today, we are richly endorsed, we are richly blessed. Let us diversify our table so that we will beat that suffering of ours.
But the same kandolo that you are talking about, Honorable, is not that cheap. Currently, if you want a very good kandolo, definitely you need to have about 10 kwacha to about 15, 20 kwacha as well.
But you eat it for days, not so. Something which you get for kandolo for 10 kwacha, you eat it for about even 5 days. But that one or bread, it's 14 kwacha. You just hammer it as a family of 4 or 5. It just finishes the same day. So basically, we're asking our people, appealing to our people, let us diversify. And this is the reason we have been talking about diversifying. When you talk about the economy itself, we are talking about we are mono in terms of copper production. Today, we have told the people, no, let's invest in our youths. They start also mining gold and these other precious minerals. This is the reason now, today we have been pronounced that you are a gold-producing nation. We are now having reserves in the Bank of Zambia. Why? Because we have diversified from just looking at copper. So it is even with the agriculture. Let us diversify.
Okay.
Let us also think about growing rice. If you look at these bigger nations like Nigeria, they have stopped going into these monocrops like maize, these crops which are very expensive. They have gone rice ways because rice, it's very cheap. It's just a weed. You just throw there. You make sure that it will grow. Big economies like China, where there are about 1 billion people, 1.3 billion people, they sustain themselves through rice. India, 1.2 billion people, they sustain themselves through rice. So even ourselves, this foreign crop known as maize, which imported from South America, it cannot sustain the 18 million people of us. So let us diversify. Tomorrow, we will be talking about 28 million people. So as you increase in numbers, we need to diversify. We need to change the way the eating habits so that we may accommodate these ones who are joining us.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so now Lusaka Dynamo's coach, Wedson Urenda, has expressed his interest to also, take charge of the Chipolopolo team after the mutual parting company of Faz and, of course, our former coach, Micho. Now, Wadawada said he's a patriotic Zambian who is always available if called upon to take charge of the national team. Currently, Faz is in search of the coach who is going to take the reins of, the mantles that, Mitchell left ahead of the World Cup qualifiers that begin in the next 8 weeks or so. Okay, so Zambia will be taking on Mauritania, then we have Tunisia, and of course we also have Guinea, that is Equatorial Guinea, for the World Cup qualifiers. We need to find the coach right now if our preparations are to get back on track, looking at the fact that, Coach Mitchell is no longer a part of the squad. That is one of the key issues that we are going to talk about as we progress with the breakfast show later on with my sports team. As we wind up, Honorable,
yes.
What value is, infrastructure development, especially the road sector,
yes,
adding to an ordinary Zambian? How should Zambians interpret this developmental agenda that you've done, for instance, building up of roads and so on and so forth?
Well, to the ordinary Zambian...
In light with the statement, Tatwali Emisebo.
Yes, Tatwali Emisebo. I liked a caller in the other segment in the morning where he said, he was coming from Mumbwa, somewhere there, and then they were moving in this bus and it was very bumpy. And then, we normally call them Ama Nyemfu, Ama Nyoni, whatever. And then he was asking them, what are we eating? And then they said, no, it is sad. Look at the scenario where I think the PF, what they are doing elsewhere, I think they are eating well. They are sitting comfortably in these other vehicles and they are enjoying the economy. So basically, when you take a road to Mumbwa, when you take a road to Siavonga, when you take a road to Sinazeze, when you take a road to Vubwi, it means comfort. Even you yourself as a journalist, you'll be able to say, I'll be able to touch Vubwi, go come, because my work has been made easier. I'll be able to access that place within a short period of time. I'll be able to come. But if you look at today, we say, no, can you go and access some far-flung areas? Let's say Sinazeze. The first thing you'll be asking yourself, is there a tarmac? How is the road situation? Immediately, you talk about that it's not a tarmac. Even your trip, you know that it will be expensive. So basically, to the ordinary marketeer out there, they are able to trade in a cheaper way. They are able to leave Mutendere, come to Soweto, come to touch different points. At the end of the day, they will be able to touch so many places at a very cheaper cost, maybe about 15 kwacha. They are coming back. But previously, especially people of Western Province, Kaoma and Mungu, they were able to do the canoeing and paddling. It was expensive. One, they lost on time. The marketeer lost on time. The fisherman lost on time. And then two, they had to spend a night there for them to return back. So for us today, they can just move within 2 hours. They are go up. They are now avoiding the rentals. You don't think about I'm going to sleep there. If you just see Chirundo, the Maikosata bridge, immediately it was dark. You had to wait. You had to look for accommodation the other side of the Kafue River. So basically, that's what we are talking about. Infrastructure development touches directly the poor person. A rich person can fly. That's why there are some of these people who have been even questioning, you are not saying at that time by GBM, because you were able to fly out of the country, you are able to fly different touches, different places. But today, GBM, the one who was sent to Academy Misebo, is with us and is speaking the same language. He's saying, Turedi Misebo. Fionsefo Turechita Turedi Misebo. Fionsefo Turechita Turedi ama clinic, Turedi ama hospitals, Turedi ama roads, na ma universities. So that's how we look at it. Infrastructure development, University of Zambia, you go out there to University of Zambia. Why? Because it is because of the infrastructure. You go to the Kobe Belt. Why? Because of the infrastructure. Why is it that these other smaller universities, they are not attracting so much numbers as compared to the University of Zambia? Because of the infrastructure. Why is it that we have these private institutions? Is it private clinics? Why is it that people, they are not going in larger numbers, even if the health expert there is exceptionally good? Why? Because of infrastructure. So infrastructure is cardinal. Infrastructure, this is the reason why we are admiring. We want to go to China to look at the infrastructure development that has been happening there. The economy that at one time the Westerners, they were saying it's overheating. So it is even here, it's infrastructure development. It touches directly the heart of a marketeer. You build a market, That's where our children are educated by those marketeers, whom you see they are selling carpenter, they are selling rape. They are behind that curtain. They are financing the education of our children, the future of this country.
Honorable Mkondo, thank you so much for coming through on the Breakfast Show today.
It's so humbling to be a comrade, Zuru. I thank you, and I thank our viewers out there.
All right, so we've been talking about infrastructure development under the Patriotic Front. Honorable Chendwa Mkondo definitely making appearance on the Breakfast Show today. We take a very short break. We'll be back shortly.